Now, I mentioned the music here being such a vibe and such a strong thing about the show for me. And I gotta fully confess and give you the full backstory as to why. So if you're interested in knowing about the music side of the show, stick around here because this is how like I really got super invested. What's good, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Corey, and today we're going to be talking about Yasuke on Netflix, the new animated series about the Black Samurai, based on true events, but not portrayed in a true way at all. Let's go ahead and get talking about it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't so far. We've been growing in the past few months. We want to continue to grow, as well as if you like the animated content, I'm doing Invincible, discussion on that coming up, as well as just did the Justice Society, as well as Yasuke. And let's go ahead and talk about Yasuke. So I enjoyed this series for a multitude of reasons, but overall I would just have to say the vibe of the series, it just kind of locked me in. Not necessarily from start to finish, but guaranteed from episode 2 moving forward. Let's go into the things that I liked a whole lot about Yasuke. Number 1 would be the theme song. It's one of the few Netflix intros that, like, when you have the option to hit that button to skip the intro, I do not press that button. I want to hear the whole intro. You know, I was watching it at school with a few students, and they was like, "Man, this is a long intro." It's like, it's worth it though. This is a nice song to start this out with. It kind of sets the tone of the show. So absolutely let me hear the whole intro. Staying in line with that, I would have to say the music that went along with each episode, like the background music, it kept the hip hop vibes right on top of the samurai action. Like it was great. It was really really good, and it made the show have a certain feel to it, and it's a feel that's very distinct as opposed to anything else that I've seen that is animated and dramatic. So that's a plus for me. Another thing that I really enjoyed about the series as a whole is LaKeith. You know, LaKeith Stansfield is the actor who plays Yasuke throughout the series, and you can tell the difference in his voice from the younger version of him as opposed to the older version of him. You can definitely tell that he's trying to make his voice sound different, like he's adding a different cadence than he normally speaks with if you used to seeing him on film. But it's cool that differentness that he's adding, that effort that he's putting into the voice here, brings the character kind of to life and actually kind of makes the character its own character. Like, I can't hear another person voicing that guy now. LaKeith is that voice, and it's not just plain old LaKeith speaking, it's him doing the thing to make him him. The only thing I didn't like about the series as a whole would have to be episode 1. I really didn't like that episode. And even if you go back, like I watched the whole series and then I went back and tried to rewatch episode 1, I still don't like it. And I think I know why. You're introduced to Yosuke at this point in the story where it's not his origin at this point. Like, it's a very pivotal moment in his journey as a person, and it's very very important for him. But as a viewer, like, I don't know anything that's going on. Background, I didn't watch any promotional material for this. Like, I heard about a trailer that came out a few weeks ago, seen they had a trailer that dropped a few days before the series was released, but I didn't watch anything. I wanted to come in as cold as possible, so I came in just knowing it was about a black samurai, not knowing how much fantasy would be included with that. So seeing episode 1 was jarring, just because I didn't know what I was getting, and secondly, it just didn't give any context to the character's journey. Now, that's not huge criticism because I stuck with it and I loved it, especially by the time we got to episode 2, and there's a big reason for that. What I started to notice in episode 2, besides the super dope intro that you don't get in episode 1 and you do get in episode 2 and everything else moving forward, I caught that there were transitions that were going back and forth between the past. And not only were they transitions, but they were really, really well done transitions. Kind of like you blink and you miss it. I know I'm normally busy when I watch things because I got a family. I am a family-oriented man, so I'm doing with my kids and I'm doing for my wife and just moving around quite a bit while I'm watching things. And I noticed with episode 2 of this, I had to say, you know what? Let me wait until everyone goes to sleep and really pay attention here, because these transitions are moving from present day to past, and I really want to know what's going on and follow it closely. So those transitions, first of all, were beautifully done, and then as well, like, kind of brought you up to speed with the story and kind of showed you the ropes and everything else. I really got invested in episode 2. Now, I mentioned the music here being such a vibe and such a strong thing about the show for me, and I gotta fully confess and give you the full backstory as to why. So if you're interested in knowing about the music side of the show, stick around here, because this is how, like, I really got super invested after I watched like episode 3 and then decided, hey, let me look into this Flying Lotus person whose name is all over the credits. Like, who is Flying Lotus? What is that? So I see the Flying Lotus thing showing up, and I Google search it and get a whole bunch of weird stuff. Then I search it in relation to the show, and then I get the real backstory about LeSean. And I'm reading about LeSean and his real name and everything else, and he's also called FlyLo. And then I see founder or creator of Brain Feeder, and I'm like, so full confession here, I'm 36 at the time of filming. I just discovered Thundercat on March 19th. My wife and I were over at some friend's house. We were just chilling. I was just scrolling on my phone. I see my former student. He posts this video of this guy dancing. Stupid fire beat. Nice vibe to the song. And I'm like, bro, who is this? I don't know who this is. So I listened to the song on repeat for the rest of the night. By the time I'm done, the week is over, I got a full playlist. I got Durag on repeat. I got Funny Thing. I got Friend Zone. I got Them Changes. I got songs that's 5 to 7 years old, and I'm just repeating them like they new. But as I'm repeating them, I'm seeing that Brain Feeder logo pop up, and I'm not knowing anything about it. And it's only until I really look into this show that I realized, like, oh, all these dudes is connected. All these dudes like anime. They make this like weird funk, R&B, jazzy type, electronica type music. Like, I'm feeling it. I love it all. So seeing all that stuff come together for me right before, on the music side, right before watching the show, and then watching the show about halfway through and realizing, oh, the same people who's making the music that I've been jamming for the last few weeks are also in line with this show. It's like, you know what? It just makes sense that this whole show is like a perfect little bubble made, feel like, just for me. And I'm sure it was made for, for quite a few other people who connected with the character. There's a whole lot of more deeper stuff that I can go into if I was to talk spoilers and about specific things that happened to Yasuke, to him throughout the show, but I don't want to do that here. I would much prefer to talk about it with someone, and I don't really have a person who want to jump on camera with me and have that discussion. So I'll leave it right here as far as a non-spoiler review. This show to me was kind of like an 8 out of 10, putting a score on it. I enjoyed it. It's something that I wouldn't mind revisiting certain episodes, just to kind of just put them on in the background and watch some cool action. Listen to a nice little vibe. It does get weird with the powers and stuff. It's not something that you can have on with the kids around, but outside of that stuff, like the character beats are real good. The voice acting is real well done. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a whole bunch, and it's something that I do recommend to anybody who's into like the more violent and like kind of gritty animes. This is definitely one to take a look at, and it ranks up there to me with some of the better ones that I've seen. Like, it's in line with the Demon Slayer. Not as long as I would have liked. Also not as realistic as I would have liked, but still very, very good. Still very enjoyable. And I felt it, man. So I guess that's worth something. That's all I got here for this one. Enjoy yourself. Guard your heart. Watch more videos. Come back and see me.